तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजाकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर सत हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस एसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजाकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर सत हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस श्री श्रीमद् भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती प्रभुपाद की जय वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः all glories to the assembled devotees all glories to the assembled devotees all glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Hare Krishna We are reading from Bhagavad Gita second chapter verses 42-43 announcement में तो कहा था English we'll do in English but I know some of you would appreciate Hindi so maybe we'll switch to English also in the middle यामिमां पुष्पितां वाचं प्रवदन्त्य विपश्चितः वेदवादरताः पार्थ नान्यदस्तीति वादिनः कामात्मानः स्वर्गपरा जन्म कर्म फलप्रदां क्रियाविशेषबहुलां भोगैश्वर्यगतिं प्रति यामिमां पुष्पितां वाचं प्रवदन्त्य विपश्चितः वेदवादरता पार्थ नान्यदस्तीति वादिनः कामात्मानः स्वर्गपरा जन्म कर्म फलप्रदां क्रियाविशेषबहुलां भोगैश्वर्यगतिं प्रति Yamimam pushpitam vacham pravadantya vipashchitah vedavadarata partha nanyadastiti vadinah कामात्मानः स्वर्गपरा जन्म कर्म फलप्रदां क्रिया विशेष बहुलां भोगैश्वर्य गतिं प्रति. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Men of small, first the word for word, yam, imam, all these. Pushpitam, flowery, vacham, words, pravadanti, say, avipashchitaha, men with a poor fund of knowledge, vedavada rataha, supposed followers of the Vedas, Parth, O son of Pritha, na, never, anyat, anything else, asti, there is, iti, thus, vadinaha, the advocates, kamatmanaha, desirous of sense gratification, swarga paraha, aiming to achieve heavenly planets, janma karma phala pradam, resulting in good birth and other fruitive reactions, kriya vishesh, pompous ceremonies, bahulam, various, bhog, incense enjoyment, aishwarya and opulence, gatim, progress, prati, towards. Now the translation. Men of small knowledge are very much attached to the flowery words of the Vedas, which recommend various fruitive activities for elevation to heavenly planets, result in good birth, power, and so forth. Being desirous of sense gratification and opulent life, they say that there is nothing more than this. Purport. We'll highlight the selected portions of the purport. People in general are not very intelligent, and due to their ignorance, they are most attached to the fruitive activities recommended in the Karma Kanda portion of the Vedas. They do not want anything more than sense gratificatory proposals for enjoying life. In Vedas, many sacrifices are recommended for elevation to the heavenly planets, such as the Jyotish Toma sacrifices. In fact, it is stated that anyone desiring elevation to heavenly planets, Swarga, must perform these sacrifices, and men with a poor fund of knowledge think that this is the whole process of Vedic wisdom. It is very difficult for such inexperienced persons to be situated in the determined action of Krishna consciousness. Even on this earth, some are very eager to have somarasa, to become strong and fit to enjoy sense gratification. Such persons have no faith in liberation, moksha, from material bondage, and they are very much attached to the pompous ceremonies. Such bodily happiness is certainly sensual. Therefore, those who are purely attached to such material temporary happiness, therefore, there are those who are purely attached to such material temporary happiness as lords of the material world. Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavancha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitansha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam stabda bhashitam pangum langhayate girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Guru Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna. I thank the temple management to give me an opportunity to serve in this way, and I thank all of you for coming and giving your valuable attention to the words of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is a very special scripture, and the verse which we are reading is at a very special juncture in Bhagavad Gita. In the second chapter, Arjuna presents his confusion that I'm lost. I cannot even lift my Gandiva bow. I am quivering, tears are falling, my skin is burning. Just imagine if a cricket player does like that in the middle of his batting. All what he has prepared just crumbles. This is what is happening with Arjuna, isn't it? He goes there, it's the final match. He has defeated Kauravas in many trial matches by the flick of the left hand. That's why he is called Savyashachi, Baएं हाथ का खेल. But in this final match, he is quivering. So he presents his confusion to Krishna, and Krishna's task is not to just have his confusion wished away. Side mein rakh do apna confusion. Krishna doesn't want to say like that. He wants to present a fundamental teaching which in the future will be beneficial to all of us. And isn't it so that it is becoming beneficial to us 5,000 years later? Krishna wanted him to fight anyway. Why? Because a righteous kingdom had to be established in the wake of the atrocities which were committed by Kauravas. So Arjuna must fight, but fight with a change in perspective, fight with a change in consciousness. What is the consciousness? That you are just not your body, you are just not the Arjuna which you think yourself to be, Sabyasachi, husband of Draupadi, somebody who is very expert in fighting, but you are beyond it. What are you? Who are you? You are soul. But wait a minute. Your understanding should not be limited to only you, but should also expand to Kauravas too. They are also not only Kauravas. They are also not their cruelty, but they are also souls, which in Sanskrit we call Atma. So you are Atma, they too are Atma. Hence, you must fight with this consciousness. So Krishna keeps telling about shlokas that dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara, and a flurry of shlokas to drive home the point that this soul will not be destroyed. Now Krishna comes to teaching the purpose, you can say the nucleus of Bhagavad Gita teaching, the yoga path. Yoga path means you understood now that you are soul, but you have to link yourself to the super soul. Let me repeat. You understood that you are the soul, but you must connect it back to super soul. This is called yoga. Nowadays it's called yoga. It comes from yuj, which means to connect. Yuj is a Sanskrit dhatu. But he has to teach about many yoga paths, isn't it? And the cardinal principle in any of this yoga path is nishkam karma. What does nishkam means? Nihi is a prefix, pratyay, something which you add in the beginning of a word, means not. Kam means desire. Nishkam means not having desire. Now you will say, what do you mean? Do we have to become desireless? This needs to be unpacked a little bit. Technically, it is called not being attached. Generally, desires make us attached. We become attached to one thing, one object, and lo and behold, somehow we detach ourselves and we get attached to something else. हिंदी में कहते हैं आसमान से गिरा खजूर में अटका. एक से अटके, दूसरे में भटके, तीसरे में लटके. Whole life kind of moves around this. Things are too sticky in the material world. Is it only me, or there are others also in the audience who can feel for it? Isn't it sticky? Just like that white sap which comes from some tree, and somehow or the other you brush past it, it gets on your skin, and फिर धोते रहो, रगड़ते रहो, rin, Ariel, नहीं जाएगा. You need a solvent. That solvent will dissolve that white sap, isn't it? एक तरल, एक द्रव्य पदार्थ जो कि उस white चीज को निकलवा देगा. That solvent is yoga process. And the essential ingredient in that solvent is nishkam hona, anasakt hona, like a lotus flower. Some people ask, what is the, can you tell us the feature by which we can understand कि हम अनासक्त हैं, we are not attached? So we have to look the other way, other side of it. Are you hating somebody? Perhaps yes, then you are attached. Because love and hate are often two sides of one coin. Sometimes इससे बहुत प्रेम हो जाता है, और वो अगर भौतिक जगत का है तो उसी से द्वेष भी होता है. खटपट ऐसी तो होती है. Attach, detach, attach, detach. In this technical language is called rag and dvesh. These are two sides of the one coin. We all go through it. Krishna is telling Arjuna in the verses 36-37 that Arjuna, fight with a detachment. Don't worry about victory. Don't worry about the loss. Just play. Not play. Just fight for the sake of it. As though it is told in cricket match, play for the sake of playing. As it is told by people who are climbing up the Mount Everest, climb for the sake of climbing. Because how much time will you spend at the peak of Mount Everest? Kulfi ban jayegi. You have to climb and get down. The kick comes from the process, isn't it? Those who write, those who do any artistic activity, it is told them, don't worry about the end product. उस process का आनंद लो. तो यहाँ पे कृष्ण कह रहे हैं, कृष्ण is telling Arjuna, do not be attached. Fight in an anasakta way. So this is nishkam. a golden thing which one has to follow. But before one heads into the arena of what to be done, it is generally good in world to know what is not to be done. Isn't it? In order to approach the arena of what is nishkam, we have to also understand what is sakam. What is the activity which is done with asakti, which is done with desires, isn't it? This is called two-prong attack. First you tell what should be done, you also tell what should not be done. So that from both sides it is checkmate. We triangulate it, isn't it? So this is the verse 42 and 43 which we are studying today. Krishna is telling about sakam path. Dekhiye, when we talk about nishkam, that we should work with anasakti, that doesn't mean we don't eat or drink or dress or live. It's not, you can say, self-immolation as they call. अपने आप को पीड़ा पहुंचाना अनासक्त योग नहीं है. बाद में 47th verse में Krishna will tell Arjuna that karmanyevadhikaraste, everybody knows that, ma phaleshu kadachana, that you do the work, don't be attached. That doesn't mean we don't maintain our bodies and souls together. क्योंकि काम करने के लिए body तो चाहिए. If we have to work, serve somebody, we need a good night's sleep also, so that we are not going non-linear in our thought process. We are stable, isn't it? So, nishkam doesn't mean that we don't enjoy or partake of the fruits we are getting. Yes, we do. But it is not like we are sitting on the top of it. Many of you would have studied CBSE. How many of you have studied in CBSE? No? Everybody from Maharashtra board only. So in CBSE, in English curriculum, there used to be a story of a rice merchant. This rice merchant, Kanjus Makhi Chus. In fact, the Kanjus Makhi Chus story also has a precedent. I don't know how many of you know about it. Well, let me tell one part of it. It's a little strange, but you will never forget it, perhaps. There were a very stingy person who had a jar of ghee. And in the jar of ghee, a makhi fell. And he took out the makhi and thought, why such ghee should go to waste too? So he extracted the ghee out of it, you know what I mean. So he became known as Makhi Chus. And that is the story of a stingy person. So this rice merchant was so stingy that he would not sell rice, but just hoard it. One fine day, a big bushel or big, you can say, a sack of rice fell on the top of it and he died. Mahatma Gandhi would say also that there is enough for everybody's need, but not for one person's greed. बहुत कुछ है, हम शायद भूखे भी नहीं मरेंगे, लेकिन जो हम संग्रह करते हैं, the thing which we keep collecting, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Gopinath Lalita Vishakha ki jai, Shri Shri Srinath ji Gopal ji ki jai, Shri Shri Janardhan ji ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. नृसिंहदेव भगवान की जय, षड गोस्वामी वृंद की जय. So what we were talking is that the sangraha which we do, collect, sometimes the weight of that collection actually comes on the top of us. Not only the स्थूल चीजें मतलब जो दिखती हैं, जैसे rice, it could be money, but even sometimes the subtle things which we collect, like the fame, the prestige, sometimes we buckle up isn't it? It becomes too heavy. We start becoming less authentic. And it can happen anywhere and everywhere. There was one social worker, maybe a sage, and he would not eat at all, but he was tagda, chust pusht. So some people ask, भैया आप तो कुछ खाते ही नहीं हो, तो फिर ऐसे तगड़े कैसे हो? He was honest. He told, you see the line of followers? The prestige which they are giving to me is sustaining me. So we don't know where we could derive our vitamins and minerals from. Sometimes we can derive it from the prestige, and that it buckles us. So sangraha of any kind, which is beyond our needs, can crush us. And that is why Krishna is indicating in this verse, these two verses, sakam karma. Now, it doesn't come to us as surprise, right? In the world, that's the mantra. What is in it for me? Return of investments, ROI. सब चीज में हम यही देखेंगे कि इसके बदले मुझे क्या मिलेगा, है कि नहीं? The world teaches us like that. The principle of survival of the fittest, कूट के भर दिया गया है हम में. Well, what we hear kind of gets into us. And it's there in the world, it's not surprise. And in the world today of marketing, it's become all the more common, isn't it? Anything which we might do, which is noble, gets on the Instagram and Facebook with a small tag, feeling blessed, helping others selflessly. It appears to be almost an oxymoron, isn't it? It's like the moment you think you're humble, you're not. Let me repeat. The moment you think you're humble, you are not. So the moment you broadcast the selfless, nishkam seva, it ceases to be nishkam seva. It becomes what? Sakam. So it's not surprising. Now the question arises here. Wait a minute. In this verse, it is indicated that there are sakam things in Vedas. Some of you may ask, this is a big surprise because we used to think that in Vedas, everybody would be walking 2 inches up the road. They would be having a halo over the head. Why this business is given in Vedas? Isn't that a fair question? Generally, from the Vedas, we would think, सबका कल्याण हो, शम तनोतु. So, इसमें अपने आप के कल्याण की पहली भावना क्यों लिखी है? See, this is the perspective which is begged of us, that Vedas cater to everyone and everybody. Vedas do not cater to only one select audience. Why? Because we all are coming from different journeys, from previous lifetimes and this lifetimes. We have made choices earlier, now we are making choices. Some of us are here, some of us are here, some of us are there. Some of us may be in the last life. I'll tell you an interesting thing. I met a saint in Braja, where we come from, and I asked him, what is the yardstick? मतलब एक प्रमाण पत्र बताओ किसी के जीवन का जिसको देख के मैं मान लूं कि इसका ये अंतिम जीवन है. Let me repeat in English. What is the certificate to kind of guess that this is the last birth of this personality? You understood the question? Why we are talking about last births? Because at least you're all coming to temple, you're associated with this culture. मोटा मोटा आइडिया तो है कि केवल यही जीवन नहीं है. क्यों? Scientifically, reincarnation studies are there, and logically, हमारा पूरी body change हो गई है. Brain cells also change, and let's face it, we are not the same as we were in 2019 before COVID, isn't it? Mentally, we have changed a lot. So, Body, mind, intelligence changed, but something remains unchanged, that is Atma. So, death पे तो body, mind, intelligence ही उड़ता है. आत्मा किधर जाएगा? वो एक नया देह ले लेता है. इसे कहते हैं reincarnation. So, I asked this sage, what is the certificate that somebody is living his last life? Isn't that amazing? It's like your last exam before passing out of a college. So then you go to what they call midnight buffet, right? That was the famous thing in our IITs. Last exam, midnight buffet. You start your breakfast at 12 a.m. और क्या कहा जाए? So I remember somebody was telling, why to focus on chapatis where there are only desserts? Because you would have, and anyway, breakfast is meant to be, you should have desserts. So, midnight buffet. Last life, isn't that exciting? But the certificate is too high bar. You know what's the certificate? That person is beyond rag and dvesh. Na kisi se rag, na kisi se dvesh. ना ही किसी से अटैच, ना ही किसी से घृणा. जनरली ऐसा होता है, एट द लास्ट बेड, शैया पे, मृत्यु शैया पे, या तो आकांक्षाएं होती है कि काश 2 करोड़ से 3 करोड़ हो जाते, या आकांक्षा रहती है मेरी किताबों का क्या होगा, या फिर उसने मुझे ऐसा कहा था, माफी क्यों नहीं मांगी मैंने या उसने, है कि नहीं? बहुत छोटी छोटी चीजों में we can get stuck. This is a real story. One old man was on his deathbed and he was looking somewhere else. His sons asked, where are you looking? He said, अरे धूर्त लोगों, मेरा वो झाड़ू मेरी वो बैल खा रही है, उसका ही ध्यान नहीं रख सकते तो मेरे मरने के बाद तुम खाक ध्यान रखोगे? Now where he got attached? To one broomstick. Just a small thing. It may appear so funny, but this is how our mind works. अटक जाता है, भटक जाता है और लटक जाता है. So, such a person is beyond rag and dvesh. But Krishna is explaining, everybody is not on that platform. We have to be honest also. And aham bija pradapita vedaischa sarvair ahameva vedyo. वेद को जानना मुझे जानना, मुझे जानना मतलब वेद को जानना. वेद मेरी श्वास है, वेद is my breath. Hence, since my love, Krishna is telling, my love is equivalent, perhaps more than the love of millions and millions of mothers combined together. Let me repeat. Krishna is telling, my love is the love of millions and millions of mothers combined together, multifold. So why would I not cater to everybody else? Why will I leave somebody who has some desire to eat Baskin-Robbins ice cream just before the deathbed? Maybe he'll arrange something. No, I will cater. And hence in Vedas also such provisions are provided. इसे हिंदी में कहते हैं मणि, मंत्र और औषधि. औषधि means medicine. Medicine cures, right? Then there is something called mani. Mani means touchstone. Touchstone also helps. In Vedas, we give mantra. There are mantras for, we can't even imagine. Although it is true, now there are no proper chanters and proper recipients, but there are mantras to do fantastic things. And our dear J.K. Rowling must have taken these in her book, Harry Potter. Anybody familiar about Harry Potter? So you have the Wingardium Leviosa. You do like mantras and you levitate. Oh, don't worry. There are much more mantras like that in our Vedas. Mantras for gaining wealth, mantras for curing illness, mantras for putrotpat prapti, putri prapti, ityadi, ityadi, ityadi. Because people are at different levels. So they have to be catered to. But वो कहते हैं ना, जोर का झटका धीरे से लगे. So Krishna is giving a jor ka jhatka, saying that, see, sakam is there. But then he's adding the reality also. What is the reality? He's telling, please understand, these words which describe the sakam part are flowery at the best. And if you totally believe on it, you might be of low intelligence. Now, this begs some explanation. Why are they flowery? What do you mean, low intelligence? I can use ChatGPT. They are flowery in the sense, we are having low intelligence in the sense that अगर हम इन चीजों को मान के कुछ करते हैं तो हम अपना दायरा बहुत छोटा कर चुके हैं. Let me repeat in English. If we accept them and act on it, we might have made our arena quite constricted. What do you mean constricted? We don't have to go so far. Look at the world around. Where all the leaders, where all the people of the world, the various business magnates rotating in body, mind, and intelligence. Sakam, when we talk about Sakam, it's what? Need of body, need of mind, need of intelligence, isn't it? Body needs, get me the sensual enjoyment. Mind needs, get me that kick of emotions. Intelligence need, titillate my intellect, isn't it? Whole world is revolving around that. But where have we gone? We have created boundaries, isn't it? Have you heard of something called eugenics? Anybody? Eugenics was a crazy, crazy, wild experiment which great scientists of the world endorsed in 1940. Hear with rapt attention. You will be shocked. Before that, let me even go further to the history of one of the most popular nations of the world. In United States of America, earlier, women were not considered souls. Hence, they were not given the right to vote. Then, unka thoda intelligence jaga. Afterwards, some others, slaves or Afro-Americans who were brought from Africa were not considered souls. फिर इंटेलिजेंस जागा और ऐसे होता रहता है सोसाइटी में, isn't it? We create boundaries. Them and us. Us and them. Them are meant to titillate us. What's happening? Our body and mind intelligence are superior, must be titillated. And who will do this thing? Them. So we create boundaries. As a result, what happens? Sometimes choti-moti fight, sometimes chote-mote jagde, but lo and behold, it can reach to mass extinction of species. In fact, a particular race of humans, that happened in World War II, right? इतना लोगों को मारा कि उसका word ही नहीं था डिक्शनरी में. When they were sitting for what they called the Nuremberg trials after World War II, they thought, let's think of a word. 6 million Jews are exterminated. Uska word to dhoondna chahiye. So one survivor came up with the word genocide. Have you heard this word? Side means killing. Geno means a genus, a species. So genocide means whole-scale extermination of one species. How pathetic. It is so pathetic that even during that time, when Jews were escaping out of Europe, some countries were not taking them refugees. Why? Because they still held that view. Us and them. I'm just giving one particular example, but this divide happens. So Krishna is telling, this sakam view can constrict you. It will just make you kind of revolve around yourself. Maybe a chota circle, किसी का बड़ा circle, किसी का उससे बड़ा circle, but है तो circle. It won't be Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. It won't be the family of Vasudeva. Who is Vasudeva? Shri Krishna. And we have seen the effects. परिवार में ही देख लो, दूर क्यों जा रहे हो? सबके अपने अपने इंटरेस्ट होने लग जाए तो अपने में भिड़ते रहते हैं, isn't it? लेकिन अगर कोई उदार हो जाए, what happens? Things stabilize. There was a very old person in Uttar Pradesh. His family had around 50 members. He was asked, "Come on, how do you survive?" तो उसने पता है क्या कहा? ये तो बहुत पहले की बात है, आजकल तो पता नहीं होता है नहीं. He said, "I make sure everybody is fed before me. Only then I eat." He was the oldest person of the family. पहले सब खाएंगे, फिर उसके बाद मैं खाऊंगा. एक के उदार होने से क्या हुआ? Everybody got encapsulated. Just imagine if everybody is उदार. सकाम से क्या होता है? We become कृपण बुद्धि, constricted. But with nishkam we become what? Udara buddhi. That's why Krishna is saying कि these may appear to be flowery words. ऐसा करोगे ये मिलेगा, वो करोगे ये मिलेगा. But don't buy it. You might be reducing your intelligence. And hence Prabhupada is mentioning in the purport, and Krishna after admonishing it, अगले verses में he will explain what is the beauty of nishkam karma. Now the question is, when the intelligence broadens, what happened? Okay, so what we have talked about, Krishna is reaching to the point of telling nishkam karma. Then before entering into nishkam karma, he is telling sakam karma and telling that flowery words, घुमा फिरा के बोलेंगे, बात तो वही है. Like some species, they may not be so sophisticated, but they eat their food anywhere and everywhere they get. We might be sophisticated and eat in the rotating restaurant on the top of a tower. But it's the same thing. कितने गुलाब जामुन खाएंगे? थोड़े समय बाद, actually just think about it. Once the gulab jamun enters below the throat, do we remember? Actually, no. We might twist and turn our tongue, but the taste is almost gone. And if you have done some rinsing of the mouth, oh, it's gone. But just for that pleasure, much has been done in the society, isn't it? So Krishna is telling, nishkam karma we have to come to. And when we come towards that, in 4 levels, we will start broadening our horizons. 4 levels. First level is, we will start understanding, I am really not the body. वो तो अब सबको पता लगने ही लग गया होगा. जो थोड़ा एजड हो गए हैं, उनको तो बिल्कुल पता लग गया है कि सबसे बड़ा धोखेबाज अगर कोई है तो वो ये देह. सबसे ज्यादा धोखा यही देता है. सब ठीक चल रहा है, एक स्क्रू ढीला. जैसे यू मेक अ न्यू होम, द डे यू डू द हाउस वार्मिंग, नेक्स्ट डे ये कुंडा टूट गया, अरे ये प्लम्बिंग टूट गई. द बॉडी ऑलमोस्ट इज लाइक दैट. Nowadays they say 40s are the new 50s, 30s are the new 40s. 60s don't even talk about it. So body धोखेबाज है. Mind बिल्कुल पता नहीं है. संकल्प विकल्प होते रहता है. Intelligence, in the world of WhatsApp University, what we can talk about intelligence. So let's not identify ourselves with body, mind and intelligence. When I say identify, I mean to say use it. Don't lose yourself in it. अगर कोई thought आए कि इसको थोड़ा एक लगा देते हैं तो रुक जाओ. था ना वो एक पिक्चर आई थी, जब वी मेट, उसमें उसको वो रिकमेंडेशन दी, जब भी गुस्सा आए बाथरूम में जाके थोड़ा फ्लश कर लिया करो. I think it's quite a good idea. Don't act on it, because we may get random thoughts. Why? Because of our previous sanskars and this sanskars and whatnot we are being fed, and what not we are eating. When we eat the food cooked with love by our mothers and offered food, something else happens. But if we have eaten the food by somebody who had put the chonk with the chonk of his or her anger, good luck. Maybe somebody gonna get hurt real bad. So, first level is we are not the body, mind, and intelligence. Second is we are Atma. Third level is not only me, others also are Atma. Just like I am special, if others are not more, they are equally special. Let me repeat. If others are not more, they are equally special. When we have this paradigm, we get rid of, first of all, our inner critic. You know the inner critic? जो अंदर बातें चलती हैं अपने, you are not good enough. Has somebody come across this? लोग कहते रहते हैं, the world is full of so much envy and hatred and things like that. So we may be doing inner critic, and we may be doing the criticism of others. He or she is not good enough. No way. They are not just body, mind, and intelligence, they are souls. And hence we come to the fourth level. What is the fourth level? That I am not only the Atma, they are not only the Atma, but we both are part and parcels of Shri Krishna Bhagavan. And Shri Krishna loves us. He is not only the expert orator of Bhagavad Gita, but he is a very sweet lover. The very fact you are sitting here is not a coincidence. It's an orchestration from Shri Radha Gopinath. And there's a beautiful Braj poem describing about it. We are from Braj, so we can't stop without a reference to Braj. आपने ठाकुर जी को देखा है खड़े होते हुए? Shri Krishna, you have seen? What's the pose? Three-fold bending form, isn't it? तीन जगह से टेढ़े. Let me humbly give you a homework today. Go today to your homes, stand in front of a mirror, and try the three-fold bending form. You have seen Krishna here, right? Or maybe in some picture. Just try it. It's excruciating hard. You will trip and fall. And here is the Lord, who as though has no business, but he comes up in the form of a deity and stands whole day and night in three-fold bending form. So Braj mein, when we see such form of the Lord and see the kind of Lord's interest behind it, first of all, he is telling us the philosophy, and then as though it was not enough, he comes in the form of Vigraha. Vigraha means the form, and tells us our heart becomes full of gratitude, isn't it? कि कोई इतना कर रहा है. अभी ज़्यादा समझ में नहीं आता है हमें कि कैसे ऐसे मुझे मंदिर में कोई लेके आया था. How did somebody bring us to the temple in this form? But slowly and slowly, as we practice devotional life, we start feeling that Krishna is thinking about us, isn't it? The one Braj poet became mad after this sentiment. He became mad after this sentiment. And he sang something which is just too sweet. And if I have your permission, maybe I can sing a few lines. Okay? The word for teda, the word for bending is teda in Hindi. And the word for teda in Braj is, anybody knows? Baka. एक वो बांके लाल की कॉमिक्स आती थी, वो नहीं. Baake, just like we have in Vrindavan, Baake Bihari. Bihari means one who roams around. Roams around where? In our lives. Sometimes inspiring X. अरे यार ये भटक रहा है, इसको थोड़ी माला बता दो. Inspiring Y. Oh, he's confused. Why don't you help him? And he's Baake. He's little teda. So the poet sings. सब ही अंग को बाको गिरधर सब ही अंग को बाको सब ही अंग को बाको गिरधर sabahi ang ko bako. Everywhere he is baka. At least three places we have seen. One is the feet, another is the waist, and third is the neck. And Gopinath is too baka, isn't it? Then the poet asks, and what all is baka about him? Oh, a hell lot. No, not a hell lot, a heaven lot, a golok lot. बाकी चाल चलत गोकुल में. In Gokul, he travels in a baka way. Why? Because there are his friends Gopas and Gopis. And he's playful, making them happy and making them happy. Then he figures out, I have to make Yashoda also happy. So he turns around and goes and eats the butter. So he's trying to make everybody happy. Not only there, to us also. Just that we have to develop that vision to see Krishna's hand is there in our lives. How? A heaven lot baka. Steve Jobs would say that we can only connect I'm not doing publicity for iPhone, but or Apple, but he would say that we can connect the dots only by going backwards. So we can see our lives 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, जो भी है. अरे यहाँ तक आने में कितने पापड़ बेले हैं. लेकिन Sri Krishna was taking us. Maybe that was the custom-made package for us in his own baka style. Baki chal chalat gokul mein छैल छबीलों का को सब ही अंग को बाको गिरधर सब ही अंग को बाको. अब इसके बाद तो हद कर दी. And that is the point I want to come to. Baki bhau charan gati baki. His eyebrows are little made in a very crooked way. But the next is the nucleus of this poem. Bako hridaya hai taako. If you don't remember anything out of this seminar today, which you saw with such rapt attention, are listening, just remember these few words. Bako hridaya hai taako. Bako hridaya hai taako. Taako, uska, hriday, heart, baka hai. Which means, not only he will give us the lessons through Bhagavad Gita, but he will come in our lives, which we can't imagine. Just we have to hit the pavement, as they say. Hit the pavement. What pavement I am talking about? The pavement of the temple. Just hit the pavement and let the magic unfold. One more thing we have to do. We hit the pavement, but then we have to take one step forward. That one step is the yoga process, but we don't have time in this day and age. We might not have the intelligence to do triangulation of not this, not that. We might not do dhyan properly, isn't it? Because the mobile phones are always around in at least one pocket of ours. And Krishna is telling nishkam karma yoga we have to do. But then, if that nucleus which I am talking about is not there, even nishkam karma yoga will soon become broadcasted. So what is that essential nucleus of the devotional service we are talking about? That is Naam. Bhagavat Naam. Sundar, Sasta, Tikau. सुंदर मार्ग है, कछु पैसों ना लगे. कुछ पैसा लग रहा है? नहीं. टिकाऊ, कहीं भी टिक जाएगा, बिकॉज कोई रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशंस नहीं है. मंदिर के बाहर, मंदिर के अंदर, खाना बनाते समय, खाना खाते समय, नहाते समय, वॉक करते समय, कहीं भी नाम ले सकते हैं. नाम नाम अकारी बहुधा निज सर्वशक्ति. ठाकुर जी ने, कृष्ण जी has put all his energies inside the Naam. and अपना कुछ नहीं जा रहा है, just we can take one little, we have come to the payment of the temple, 50% done. We can now just do the another 50% of taking the name Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Harinam Prabhu ki jai, Shri Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Jai Jai Shri Radhe Shyam. With that, we rest our case. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. I don't know, we have time, or the altar will open, or altar will open, no? Questions? We can take questions, comments, reflections until the altar opens. Something which stuck with you. Of course, one thing, as I said, allow it to be stuck to you. What? Vaako hridaya hai taako. Any comments? Any thoughts? Reflections? Feel free. Reflection means no question. Yes. We
children who are teenagers, I feel they need the most. Many times I ask my daughter, please come with me. Earlier when she was small, she would come, but now she refuses.
There was a saint who would tell, preach all the time and when necessary, speak. Let me repeat. Preach all the time and when necessary, speak. It works all the more with those who are dependent on us. They are looking more on us. How are we following? Are the effects being reflected on us? And if they are convinced, then they will take up like nobody else. I have seen that in the lives of many, many teenagers. That in the childhood, of course, the parents were going, so they were doing, and then something happens, some priorities change, some significant others come in life. But then afterwards, when they realized, my father and mother, they do not love me because only I chant, but because they love me unconditionally. And unconditionally also means there should not be condition of chanting too. When this happens, they will naturally open to us, to the parents. And that's one thing. Second, prayers help a lot. So two things. First, we follow it so impeccably that they are naturally attracted. They think ourselves to be as suhridas, friends. And second, we can pray and wait. A lot, it's very common, almost a cliche, that a lot is caught than taught. And nowadays in postmodern society, the mantra is, don't tell me, show me. Isn't it? Don't tell me, show me. Show then tell, as they say, right? So we can try to do that, and फिर जय श्री राधा रानी की इच्छा. हमें भी अनासक्त रहना है कि नहीं? Does that help you? Best thing. Correct. So the third aspect is wait for a teachable moment. There might be a teachable moment around the corner. All moments are not teachable. we know what we are talking about. There are some teachable moments where, अब वो हिंदी में क्या कहें उसे, हिंदी में उसकी एक कहावत है, आया ऊंट पहाड़ के नीचे. यहाँ पे कोई ऊंट नहीं है, कोई पहाड़ नहीं है, लेकिन the teachable moment, we can wait for that. It is really hard work on us to really wait for teachable moment, क्योंकि जो अपना dependent होता है, it's like pahad is ready and oot is also always ready. So we have to work on ourselves. Yeah. Any other thoughts, comments, reflections, corrections? Anything which stuck with you, you want to take with you? Okay. So we end here. The altar will open, right? No. Altar has 15 minutes. So we can... You want to share something? Yes. Go ahead, please. I'll be happy.
I just remembered somebody asking the same question which Mataji asked. More elderly person, and said that my children are not chanting. I tell them, but still they don't listen. So this gentleman, he just asked, how much time you took to come to Krishna consciousness? And she suddenly realized, oh, it took me. So don't you think that your son or daughter deserves that much time at least? But again, you're so kind that you want them to take up and not waste their time. So it's understandable. That's what the nicely suggested and we practice ourselves. And then pray.
Thank you for sharing. Okay, we have all the time, so please share. जो भी आपके हृदय में आ रहा है, Prabhu wants to share. 8:50, ठीक है. We can even do kirtan also. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. It has been an excellent debate by Ms. Prabhuji, and we are really thankful for that discourse. You, right from the beginning, you mentioned many interesting things. Like, you also evoke Mahatma Gandhi's very famous quote that there are ample things for everybody, but today it is a different story altogether. I have 100 questions because your discourse was very, very interesting and eluding the questions after questions.
You said 100 questions?
Yes, I mean, out of sidelines we will discuss. But I have 3 important things to ask. You evoked about the businessman, the fellow who writes as well as the geek things. But there is a very famous saying that, saying that you mentioned about the Sangrahalaya. But today in the age of era of IT, IoT, machine language, artificial intelligence, the data on the cloud. So today's youth are seeking this explanation. If you put restriction, they are not going to hear out us. But the spirituality must explain this right from the Vedas, which I had, saying that there is no restriction. Sky is the limit, but there is beyond sky also. But what interesting thing you mentioned about the genocide. It's very, 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 very heart-rendering because, in fact, my father was a World War II veteran and came alive back. So this is something which we need to know and understand. But with your IIT background, because it is something spirituality is getting a new color in this. Prabhupada, his Vyavasaya was preach and preach and preach. Today, if he was not there, Krishna consciousness, where was it? This exactly you asked, where are we going? If you can explain this better things, it will be better for everybody. Thanks.
Thank you for such pertinent remarks and encouraging. See, what cloud you spoke about some time back, I would walk those corridors as somebody in academia. So I can speak about that how A dot I dot is taking us from R dot I dot. R dot I dot stands for real intelligence. And well, it will stay with us, this technology, for some time, but we have to also think that are we numbing some of our spiritual potential? So youngsters have to think as those who have bequeathed from Srila Prabhupada a modicum of concern for others and who are trying hard to practice sincerely. We can only share. Rest people have to take of themselves. But I just hope that the world doesn't see calamities of the order of genocides and things like that before making some significant change. मतलब हद होती है कि इतना वर्ल्ड वॉर 2 होने के बाद अक्कल ठिकाने आई, पहले से ही आ जाती. So thank you for encapsulating some of the points. और कुछ विचार, सुझाव? Yes, Mike.
So I read a book that said you can only make good decisions when your mind is calm. So in this rat race where we're trying to balance out, family and work and relationships, how do we ensure that our mind is as calm as possible at all times?
The answer has to be multi-pronged. In the interest of time, I can just give a small answer, which might be quite practical. Take mini sabbaticals in your life. Let me repeat. Mini sabbaticals. We were in academia, we were given sabbaticals. If after finishing, say, 4 years of, say, assistant professorship, we would be given 1 year off. 1 year, उसमें भी लोगों को शांति नहीं मिलती, वो भी किताब लिख रहे हैं उसमें 1 साल में भी. That's a different thing. But the idea was take off. Why? Because generally in academia it is said you change your interest after every 5 years. Because the market also changes. And you need that sabbatical to kind of sit back and look what is going on. In our lives also, we need some sabbaticals on a yearly basis, on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis, and daily basis. Some half an hour a day in a week, few days in a month, maybe a week or so in a year. Must. And let's try that in those sabbaticals. One of our dear associates is kept at bay. You know the dear associates I'm talking about? The mobile is not a problem. The Wi-Fi is problem. Because it just connects us. And it has the potential of bringing alive the sanskaras in us, dormant sanskaras, impressions in us, which may be unholy and unwholesome. And that agitates the mind in a compound way. There is interest and compound interest, gets compound interest. So, few hours in a day, few days in a week in a month, few weeks in a year. Let's try to consider this as a part of our lives. This is very, very common now in the West. This is the concept of mini sabbaticals. In almost all the companies, they are instituting it. In fact, in Google, they have a rule called 80-20 rule, which means you work 80 times and 20 times, kuch bhi ool jalul cheez karo. All the crazy things have come out of that 20% time, like that Google Glass has come. So anyway, we are not saying that even in the 20% of time we are scratching our head to be productive. No, in that 20% time or in that sabbatical, we can just be who we are at ease. And to even stimulate that sabbatical experience in a very heightened manner, so that, as you said, the mind even becomes calmer, and not only calmer, it starts seeing things which it has not seen, like it happens in dreams. What happens when we do deep sleep? In Sanskrit, it is called Brahma ki bhaki. हिंदी में embrace को क्या बोलते हैं? भाकी पहनना बोलते हैं ना, गले लगना. So actually during deep sleep, we enter into Mahavishnu. And हमें कुछ पता नहीं रहता क्या हो रहा है. लेकिन जो संस्कार होते हैं माइंड में, they start popping up. And we may be witnessing or seeing things in a very convoluted manner. Like that, if we can get rest during our mini sabbaticals.
And we are subserve life, as we say, it is lost. So my quick comment is for the youth is that just ask the why we are doing it. Because we may have so many answers regarding how things are being done, but the why is very important. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you.